Yes, what's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Tales of the Cypher, episode 78.
Let's go.
Almost, 78. Shit, I almost lost count.
Damn.
Episode 78, yo. Super excited for this one. But we'll get right down to the intros right before that. My name is Emil, and I'm with my boy Sugy.
Yo.
And again, this is a bit of a first, a bit of a different type of episode than usually, but we're super excited for it. Right before we start on to that, though, as per usual, you guys can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at CypherSons. That's CypherSons. And on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all those other cool little podcasts at Tales of the Cypher. Now, before we start that, actually, I'm looking at the dudes and I'm just like, okay, let's just start this up because I'm just excited. But appreciate the time, guys. City, a returning guest, and
happy to be back.
Thank Switch, you, who, to be honest, we wanted to have you in like our first 10, 15 episodes. Now we're at 78.
So that's putting in work.
Yeah. So we're like, we gotta get him at one point. But
he finally agreed to his price.
Exactly. Man's got a price and a schedule, you know.
Man, if only we could get paid to do this. It's one day. It's crazy, Chris. Like we were talking, like when you joined the Zoom, but like episode 2, man, that's like 76 shows ago. That's
crazy. I was like still battling back then.
No, it's wild because it has to be, I don't know, man, like May 2020, like early pandemic, and you were saying like half of the show is about COVID, so it's kind of a bummer.
I know,
but
it's like depressing.
Yeah,
I was gonna say it's like depressing. If ever I listen back to it, I'm like, God, it's so gloom. You know, I think it was like the climactic point of COVID.
Y'all had it rougher than we did too, man.
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
And I remember it was straight up like when we started the podcast, we're like, okay, let's just do something to like get our minds off of things and not be depressed. And like we're doing the podcast with other dudes from the same city. We're depressed all together.
Yeah. I know, eh? Like fucking with our beers at like noon. No.
Exactly.
That was a good time.
Just to kick it off, man. Like shout out to you guys, man, because I know, like, man, it's a lot of work that goes into this shit, and you know, it's just so easy to overlook it and kind of get used to it. But you don't realize how dope something is until it's gone. And the fact that you guys are still here, it's kind of like, yo, this is like such gold you guys are putting out. And the fact that you guys are starting to venture over to Ontario and hopefully other provinces, and who knows, you know, where it's gonna go. But it's just like it's such a dope thing that you guys have kind of continued to build. So thank you guys for that.
Thank you.
It wasn't I think like we had a little up and down lately in terms of like the schedule and keeping it consistent. It's not easy, but appreciate it, man. Yeah, I think people have been giving us some positive feedback as well, so it's nice to keep it going. But on to you guys, maybe just I guess to start it off, how are you both doing? I know City, you busy, double busy. You got a second kid. Congrats.
Thank you, man. I know I'm like, how the hell did I get in this position, you know? But yeah, I know. At one point we were debating even having children, and the next thing you know, we have one, and you know, now 2 is becoming a normal thing. You know, it's just like you kind of go from being like young and reckless to all of a sudden like this like super like family oriented, like, you know. Yeah. Everything is about family and the kids, everything, but it's dope, man. It's great. It's a great transition, and it's awesome.
Nice, man. And Switch, I know you like. Correct me if I'm wrong. From what I see from Instagram, you're like you're like taking breaks from battles and coming back in. Like, what's the whole battle mentality right now, if there is one?
Yeah, no, it's just like the last comp I entered was back in 2019, and then the pandemic hit. So I was like, there was nothing really to battle for. We were just like breaking, and it was really dope because it was the first time in a long time that I was breaking just because I loved it. There was no goal, really, other than to be nicer. And then competition started coming back, but I help organize a lot of the comps in Toronto now. So it's like whether I'm hosting or people have been asking me to judge or I'm actually throwing it, I'm just like, I'm not going to enter this. But like Troubles through a little Jam-ademic, a little All-Styles battle. Last Saturday.
Yeah. What's a little wave to a worm? What did you do?
Yes, I just pulled up and I was like, yo, you know what? Oh, you guys still doing like top 32? Or are you still doing prelims? You'll sign me up.
Let's go. No way.
Yeah. I lost some popper in top 8. So, but it was cool though, because I was just like, all right, like I know y'all know this, but it's like during the pandemic, I got so out of shape, and like a lot of the scene just got out of shape. And I would do one throwdown, and I would be exhausted, like by the end of the throwdown, you know. So like battling and doing a round, and then seeing the guy go and being like, yo, thinking about the next round, I was like, oh shoot, like all that training paid off. I can do more than one round now. So that's where I'm at.
That's such a real thing though. That's like for everyone, absolutely everyone. And even like myself, when it comes to like now I see some more jams coming up in the summer. I'm like, oh, I'm down to do these. And I'm confident in my moves, but am I confident about my cardio? I don't know. You know what I mean? So it's like it hit everybody in such different ways. And I know Suji's now, he's like freaking Usain Bolt. He's running every day. So like, so everybody's like finding a way, which is good. We're kind of like back into it since it's.
But see, I still can't do more than 3 rounds. That's what sucks.
I was gonna say, I'm like, I like to blame the pandemic, but I think I was gassed out after like my first round before the pandemic. But hey, man, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, right. No, but trust me, like I did like 5 rounds with mass like back in like last summer, and I was like so tired, you know, like so tired, like a mild migraine. I'm like, yo, I need to like get some water, and I was like, yo, what the hell, man? I used to do 5 rounds in the finals, right? So it's just like
shit, yeah.
And like be prepared for a tiebreaker, right?
Right.
So I was just like, wow, man, I gotta really rethink things. You know, like don't get me wrong, Mass is he's the Don Dada right now, but like I want to at least like get smoked with honor, you know?
You would you say your last like in shape performance, like your peak, was it when you won skills meter, or was it a bit after that? Like,
nah. My last I think my peak performance was like this battle called Shine out in Vancouver. It was like 2017.
Okay.
And like I was just on tour, so that week I did like 5 shows and 10 workshops Monday to Friday.
Shit.
Wow.
And in schools, and then like me and the homies, like we had several drinks the Friday night, like several. Because and I found out the Thursday night that my ride to Massive Monkeys was canceled. So I was just kind of like, damn, I've been training months for this, and now I can't go. But then there was a battle happening in Vancouver, so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go deal with this. So I pulled up and like extremely hungover, you know, and like a lot of really nice dudes were there, like Jalti from Supreme Beings was out there, Villain from Underground Flow was out there, the homie Vital from Hoods was out there. So I was like, yo, these are some nice dudes. Okay, like if I take this, and like had to take a nap because I was so hungover, and like I won like really like it wasn't hard. It was really easy. Like I just had a tiebreaker with Villain, and I remember just being like, oh, you know what? I'm just gonna do my showcase that I've been doing all week. Like I have it like that, and I was just like so in control. And when I saw the footage, I was like, wow, like this is my favorite footage of myself. So that was back in 2017. Like I was 27.
Damn.
That's the last time I was like, yo, man, like yo, I'm gonna have to come back for that crown, but nah, that never happened.
So what's the mission now? What's in terms of like breaking for you? Like where do you see yourself? Like what's going on?
I say right now, like it's baby steps. So I'm just like swipe flare, windmill halo 90. That's what I'm trying to get back. Just on a power tip. It's like everything else like feels great. Footwork feels great, tops, all that. But I want to get my power back and just getting to about 155, 150 pounds. You know, I've been hitting the gym regularly, so I want to just be nice. I just want to be good. You know,
you're light. You're light. I would have expected you to be like a 170, 180 kind of guy. That's
right
pretty
now,
light.
I'm like, right now I'm 160, but like my fighting weight was 155.
Wow.
So
lightweight.
Yeah, man. But other than that, you know how it goes. Like when you get to our point, we see the guys killing it now, and I'm like, shit, I can't hang with these kids. I can't hang with these B girls no more. You know, so I'm just like, I'm just trying to be nice.
Yeah, for real, man.
Well, actually, speaking of that, that's kind of what we wanted to talk about as well, since you guys are young vets or like unretired, retired. I don't know, but we were kind of curious to see, like, because there's so much going on in the scene right now and so many jams now, thankfully, fortunately. And there's new names killing it. And there's kind of like a switch in terms of the, who's kind of the king of the hill now.
Yeah. And
it's not specifically, it is a few people, which is normal because that's kind of what it is, the king of the hill, but it's a few people, it's not one kind of. I guess kind of wanted to ask you guys, what do you think of the level now, like where Canada maybe is at internationally, like your opinion of all the past jams and performances have been going on? I don't know if City, if you want to go ahead.
I mean, like, to me, I was completely blown away by Lee from the Ruggeds. When I saw this guy, like some recent footage of this guy, I was like, what the fuck? Where is breaking going, man? This is crazy. And then I found out that Phil Wizard beat him at that Red Bull event, and I was like, yo, Canada can freaking hang with any country, man. I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
You know, whereas back in the day, it was like, you know, we basically had like Bag of Tricks made it to Battle of the Year. That was like our claim to fame. You're like, yeah, we're still in it. You know, back in the day, like, you know, Canada was like a bit of a thought, you know, in terms of like on a competitive level, you know, not as far as inspiration and, you know, inspiring the world and everything like that, but it's just like on a competitive level, we were never really at that level. And now I feel like, damn, there's people really coming up, you know, and from coast to coast, that it seems like we definitely are in the game, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't think it was like that when I was kind of like at, you know, during my climax or whatever, like in terms of, at least from Montreal, I felt like, and I'm not like the first person to say this, like I felt like Montreal at least was like a little bit lagging in terms of when you went to the US, you were like, yo, what the hell? These guys are on another like level, you know? It was like, we had a definitely our own style. We had our own like original like stuff going on, but like the level of like technicality and stuff was like, damn, every time we traveled. But maybe it's because we're seeing it for the first time too, you know?
Yeah, but I felt like Montreal internationally, it was always like we were almost there, but not yet, and it was always just those three guys, right? It was always Vicious, Flail, and Promo,
right?
And now it's like it's starting to come up, right?
Right,
you have like Mass and Mad Track doing their thing, and other b-boys coming up too, that maybe everybody else don't necessarily know of yet, in terms of like Canada wide,
right?
But no, I mean, I see in Ontario like. What is it, like the Calantes brothers and I mean, Phil Wizard's doing his thing as well, right?
Yeah. I think Toronto, like not to like, you know, I mean, I'm so proud of Montreal and like, you know, the whole community since I started doing it, but I feel like Ontario and Ontario and Quebec, there was a little bit of they were a little bit uncomparable at one point. You know, I found Montreal was not quite at the Ontario level. I don't know if it was because of like a language barrier, a disconnect maybe of like, you know, access to footage or whatever it was. I'm not quite sure, but I just found like there was definitely a difference in kind of just like understanding of the whole the whole dance as a you know, from A to Z. Until more later years of breaking, that I found like, you know, the Montreal guys were really starting to step it up and like win jams and really represent and start, you know, not only travel, but like starting to win shit. And it was like, yo, what the fuck? What's going on here? It's a big turnaround, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's the moves. I find Toronto understood how to perform in battles other than just in Canada. Well, like they understood that fairly quickly. And I mean, you don't have to go that far for it, right? Switch and everybody, I think everybody but Stripes, every skills meter winner is from Toronto. Is that it?
Is that right? Damn. Say it ain't so.
Except for Stripes and Victor.
Victor, yeah.
I think it's everybody from Toronto.
I think it might be. That's crazy.
So... Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's if that's what you mean, City. It's like, yeah, I think you guys just use Switch and all your guys kind of understood how to perform in that way, and Montreal just kind of had their own style in that sense, you know.
Well, I feel like to be fair, right? Like Toronto in general or Ontario. Like, Toronto is the main part of Ontario, but it's a very amalgamated city, right? So you have Hamilton, and then not too far out you have London with albino zebras. And like Style Lords and dudes like Tricks from Style Lords, like he's breaking since like the late 80s, early 90s, and that's in Hamilton, small town, right? So it's like, and then you have Mississauga with Ground Illusions, and then you have like Migas started breaking in Brampton, right? So it's like there's like 5 or 6 cities that make one scene, which is Toronto. Everybody would come in and out of people would mission all the time. So when you think about that reach, plus how close we were to New York. Yeah, we had a very strong foundation, and we had people that were breaking and understood it from the 80s, right? So I feel like that's the main reason that Ontario kind of understood that. Not to mention the opportunities, because whenever Americans would come out, whenever European cats would come out, they usually come to Toronto before they come to Montreal or Vancouver, right? So we were just kind of spoiled in that regard. That was the main thing. But if you look at it now, just like City said, like, yo, like, Toronto cats don't even win Toronto jams anymore. It's always Montreal mans, you know?
I mean,
that's how it's been. Like.
I think everyone's at like a level, even playing field now because of the internet. So I think now it's kind of like, all right, who's really the best, you know? Whereas before it was kind of like you were a product of your environment and you kind of were privileged to kind of what was around you, and maybe some more if you were able to get your hands on some extra footage, or if you were able to travel or, you know, session with different people like that. It was kind of like what was around you, what you were exposed to was maybe going to be how good you were, you know?
And imagine if we were like thinking more business savvy back in the day. Imagine, because okay, Illmatic, like they used to, you guys used to come through and slap up Harborfront all the time, right? It was like, you know, Illmatic, dude, they're gonna win the jam, right? Like that's how it was when I started. So it's like, imagine if like you Flakes, Fluid, like linked up with like Lost Child back in 05 and went up to go travel. Like, that shit would be insane, you know?
Well, I think that's kind of what Zig kind of eventually decided to do. I think like it was almost like a mature mind approach to building a crew versus just like, hey, who's my like top 5 friends and I'm gonna just, you know, form a crew. He was like, yo, I'm getting to my later years right now. I'm in a position of wisdom. Let me put together a strong Canadian team and build fresh format. And I think that's basically what he did as far as exactly what you're saying. Like, it was almost like a business mind, but like, you know, he did it really well and they had a really good run, you know, as we all know.
Yeah, no, for real. And it's like, they got to do some really dope shit. And like, you know, another thing that sucks too is that there's a lot of shit that y'all did, that we did, that everybody did, but there's no footage.
I know, bro.
Like, you know what I mean?
Cleo's so frustrated, bro. He's like, yo, send me footage of your crew, like for a documentary. And I'm kind of like, yeah, let me ask the crew. And I'm like, yo, who's got footage? Everyone's like, I have it on VHS, but like everyone's like either too lazy to like convert it, or like I'm like, fuck, Cleo, I'm not dodging your questions. I just don't have any, man.
No, it's unfortunate because I feel like, especially right now, if a lot of that 03, 05, 06 footage came out now, people would be like, yo, that shit was raw, you know?
Yeah.
So
that shit is just crazy to watch when you see like shit like a bag of clips pulls out and you're like, what the, like, this was just 10, 15 years ago. And it's like, it could be as relevant, if not more right now, you know?
For sure.
We were at, Sugy and I were at Montreal Loves Hip Hop. City, I think we missed you there. It's Montreal Loves Hip Hop, because Tiff told me she was there and then we left and you guys came in. I don't know. Were you there at Montreal Loves Hip Hop?
Yeah, like I was scouting outside to make sure when you guys left, that's when I went in.
Okay.
But you waited for us to leave.
Yeah, exactly.
I see.
I was like, hey, yo, they're leaving. Let's go in.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
yo,
we showed up at the end. It was bad. We were like, yeah, let's go support. And then we show up. It's like the finals. We're like, oh, okay. Yeah. And then I'm like awkwardly passing by all the competitors, and I'm just like, normally you're like, yo, good job or whatever, you know. I have no idea how they did. I'm like,
Well, just speaking of that, Jam, in terms of footage, like Switch, you'd be going crazy if you were there. It's like it was an exhibition, essentially a month-long exhibition, and the last day was a jam, and every wall was just covered with footage, whether it's a vinyl from like an old rare vinyl from De La Soul to some like a magazine from The Source talking about Montreal. Like, it was just footage over footage. And then Scramble freaking had a catalog with QR codes on every jam. Like,
can you believe that shit?
I actually heard about it.
It blew my mind. I was like, what the hell? Like, I'm like, yo, you're like a hip hop librarian. He's like showing me, like, giving me the tour, all the flyers. I'm like, bro, you are like the hip hop librarian. It's crazy.
Yeah, I actually can't believe it because it's Scramble Eggs.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But maybe in terms of like you guys mentioned the cruise, and it's funny because Sugy and I spoke about that in our last podcast, and I switched. I doubt you listened to it because it was in French. It's all good. But we talked about cruise, and essentially we're talking about how, like, you know, it's not the same as before. You don't really see crews anymore battle. Like, we're looking at the latest footage, and it's like, this crew's in the final and that crew's in the final and semis, and there's barely any crews. We looked at it in an international scale. We looked at it at a local scale, right? And there's not really any more crews in that sense. And it's funny you switch because you use the word like business savvy, right? So it's kind of like, okay, what would happen if you would have done this way? And I'm just using this example as an example straight up. I love those guys, and I just think it's a good example. Mass and Matrack, they're homies, but they came to win, not necessarily to rep. You know what I mean? And that, I think that's the main difference when you have a crew come in. A crew comes to rep, and then when you have a bunch of dudes who come in to win.
Okay.
I mean, that's what we were talking about. I don't know if you guys have noticed any of that trend, but crews are definitely it's different now than before. I mean, you compare it to 10 years ago.
I don't want to interrupt because I know the question's for Switch B, but I think your last line, the way you put it, was like kind of dead on. That's all I'm gonna say.
Meaning like the rep versus win.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
I mean, it's a question for you both. Yeah.
Switch.
No, speak on it, bro.
No, I'm actually. I was kind of. I'll prepare my thoughts because the question was for you. I wasn't even thinking about answering it, but go for it, man.
No, but yeah, like you're absolutely right. Like people, I was one of those cats that repped. I always repped with, FAM or MEC, and it wasn't like until I don't think I repped with someone that was outside of my crew willingly until I was like 25. I remember I pulled up to a jam and I saw Anton and I was like, "Yo, what are you saying?" And he's like, "Just chilling." I was like, "Yo, you want to enter, bro?" And he was like, "Are you serious?" And like, it was like when we rolled up, people were like, "Yo, what the fuck?" Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? And
it's like that's cheating. That's cheating.
Yeah. And it was, but I was like, but I never like, and I never. It was never that easy. Like it was okay. It was definitely like I always felt super confident when I was repping with like Phil Fury, obviously. When I was repping with Sticks, I was repping, like homies, like for sure. But like with Anton, I was like, oh man, this guy, he's the guy that usually gets in my way. So this is perfect,
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, it was. And then shortly after that, like we went to Washington, me, him, and Sticks, because like I think him, Sticks, and I think Momo entered Silverback, and they did pretty good. But when Anton came back, I remember he was like, bro, like, yo, we have to link up, man. If we want to win, he's like, we have to link up. And I was like, he's right, because it's just like at that point in time, my crew, we were like 25, 26, which is still really young. Mm-hmm. But cats like Phil Fury's like, yo, motherfucker, I'm trying to get this money, I'm trying to buy a house. Right? So he was like, just like, man, I'm still dope, but I don't care about competitions. I'm not trying to go to no joint for 10 hours to potentially make $500. He's like, nah, man, I'm gonna get this bread, and he did that. He fucking did that, and I always rate him for that, right? But like, yeah, there's only a few cats that were focused, and it's just like they want it, and it's true. If you want to win, yeah, I want to do it with my crew, of course. But if you want to just win, link up with somebody that that's cool, and they're dope. Oh shit, it's like Mass and Matrack. It's like, oh damn, right?
Yeah,
like, it's
like a business move, like you said. It's kind of like who's gonna ask him first. And then once you kind of claim like that number one guy, you're kind of like, yo, you just like, you made a big move there. You're like, everyone can kind of predict you're going to win the jam in advance.
That was literally the last BC1 final. No, not the BC1 final. It was the last.
A Rock Harder final?
Yes, yeah. It's just like the last biggest one-on-one. That was the final. And they were like, oh, okay, let's link up for this 2-on-2. It's like.
But you know what that does, eh? It's like when you hear, I hear Mass and Matrack is doing it together, or I hear this and this, then everybody else starts doing those business moves.
That's it.
And it's,
Well, I think like probably before my generation, like in the 80s, like switching crews wasn't even something taboo, you would think of, And in my generation, it wasn't something you think of. Like if you switch crews, if you weren't part of a crew, you were like a kind of a weird, like who's this guy with? Like, would you just settle with a crew already? Like why are you always jumping around? It was weird. And then in our generation as well, it was like you didn't switch crews because that was like playing dirty. It was kind of like, whoa, why do you have a ringer all of a sudden, and blah, blah, blah. But then when our generation like lasted the test of time and started getting older, and let's say you have a crew of, let's say 6, 7 guys, and 3, 4, 5 of them start falling off, and there's a crew battle, well, naturally, you're going to start merging with other groups and pairing up with other groups. That's actually how Ilmass formed. We, 2 older generation groups, and we just kind of merge together to stay alive, But I think, and then like Emil just said, it's like, once one person's doing it, like if you want to stay in the game, it's kind of like, all right, well, I guess this is the new world right now. And it's a 1v1 world right now, the breaking community, unfortunately, economically and just socially and everything right now.
Well,
yeah, the boy bands are out.
Yep. wait. Who are you referring that to?
But listen, we'll get to the one-on-one comment in a sec, because that's something we definitely want to discuss about. But like we kind of left the listeners with like an open-ended question like on our last episode, and I'm curious to hear you guys on this, if you guys have any opinion on that. But like what's the worth of a crew right now? Like what's like we used to think that our crew was like the most important shit in the world, and it still is, like, until I die. Like I hate to say this because it sounds corny, but CypherSons for life, but like for real, for life. But I wonder if there's such a thing still as a worth associated to a crew, or of being in a crew. Do you think that's still something that people will value, like in a year, 5-10 years from now?
It's hard to put myself in that position because I'm not a young generation growing up right now with a crew. I know what it meant to me. I think having a crew, even in these times right now where everything is veering towards 1v1 or 2v2, I think having a crew is almost just as important, because your crew is going to be the one standing behind you in that jam. Your crew is going to be the one traveling with you. Your crew is going to be the one, encouraging you, giving you feedback in that practice. And breaking, as much as it's about a competitive mindset, breaking is not about winning. It's not about winning. Yes, it's competitive. Yes, it's about that testosterone, that macho, but breaking is about the social aspect. It's about the parties. It's about the memories. It's about the traveling. It's about getting down with your friends, feeling good, and kind of just, building your life up in a positive way through breaking, through hip hop. And you do that with your friends, with your homies, traveling. My best memories which is part of my childhood, is traveling to Toronto with my homies, getting drunk the night before the battle, doing horrible at the battle, and then coming home and it was like, yo, that was a sick event. You know what I mean? But if I just drove there alone with some guy that I don't even know just to win the event, and then we let's say made it to semis, or we won the jam and got paid and got money and came home, not even close to the same experience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not about winning. It's about the overall, it's about the community and the social aspect.
Yeah. I love it. It's like, yo, we lost to top 16. That was the best night ever.
Yo, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. It was all, we had no one to blame but ourselves, but it was awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I think the core, is because at the end of the day, it's like, what breaking is now, in my opinion, is kind of a byproduct, right? It's like nobody starts breaking. Like maybe kids will now, but no one's like, I want to do the Olympics, or I want to open for Janet Jackson. Like that's not why people start breaking. So it's always going to be social. I think your friends are usually the people you're going to grow around, first. So I think it always will be important. It's always going to be worth something. But for the professional breaker, for the person that wants to be known and get the views and get the invites, yeah, you're going to have to link up, right? It's like one of the last, I feel like, core crews that really did that and went big with it is Sweet Technique.
Yep.
Just 3 guys. Well, I mean, there's way more guys, but yeah, and actually that's a good example too. Like it's a pretty big crew, but they had a big 3, and they just kind of took the world by storm,
Yeah. Right.
And it's kind of like, I never thought about it when thinking of the whole, oh man, when breaking is going to the Olympics, what are the consequences that come with it and all that? I never thought, and now I'm thinking of it since Sugy asked the question. Now I'm like, the disappearance of crews are kind of related to that now because of the Olympics, right? It's like now everybody's going to start thinking kind of like a businessman or businesswoman and be like, yeah, I'm going to work with this crew and that crew. The more these competitions come up, the more money, good for them. That's good, but that's because there's more money involved, more, if we can say, high stakes than just bragging rights and $1,000 as a cash prize or whatever. Now it's like, okay, let me train with this person, let me train with that person, and I can kind of use the same thing that I used as a crew, which is like what you said, City, like your crews, your homies, mentors, and all that stuff. You could kind of do the same thing now with almost anybody, because I mean, we see it now, right? Everything is happening with the Olympics now. It's like there's funding. The freaking Phil Wizard's a Red Bull athlete, good for him. All these things are happening, and it's like I can just do this and I can do that, and I don't really have to be tied to someone, or it's I forget who said it. It's a 1v1 world now,
Yeah.
And that's the quote of the pod,
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So that's a T-shirt right there.
But see, like that. The thing is that I think that as of now, there can only be one person that can benefit from all of these beautiful new things. Like I used to. And we've discussed this with Zig when the whole Breaking Quebec thing kind of popped off like earlier this spring, but there's for now there's not enough money to create 6 different Phil Wizards. Like there's only money for taking care of 1 to 4 different individuals, like two boys, 2 girls, and that's it for now. But I think that if the movement keeps going in the same direction, we'll start to see a lot more individuals like being taken care of and whatnot, and getting sponsors and all that. And I'm sure that in the end, it's going to be obviously easier to always take care of one single person versus the whole freaking squad, and like moving and accommodating like a full freaking crew.
It's like, who do you want to invite to your concert and pay in house? Like, like Usher or the Wu-Tang Clan? like 20 flights and like hotels and shit. Like, oh god.
And they won't pass the borders anyway. So.
So I see how it is probably just easier for organizations to just like focus on 1v1s and on individuals. And I mean, like it's that champion mentality, but to kind of do a contrast to that, like how insane is the feeling where we see like the hockey team, like Team Canada, win the gold medal in the Olympics, like I think it's even doper than any other like sporting events like in the Olympics. It's just like just seeing that like championship finals, like hockey, it's so sick. And it would be so cool it would have been so cool to see, or maybe it will happen in the future, or maybe not, but whatever, but like a Team Canada, like a full like squad, like that year FAM wins the Canadian championship, they are Team Canada and they're going to the Olympics, and they have a chance to rep. Like
I think unfortunately those days
are gone.
Are gone. And I don't mean that that's not possible, but those days in terms of saying like FAM's going to be Team Canada and they're going to rep, I think those days unfortunately are gone, because what's going to happen is it's going to be a put together crew, because Canada wants to rep well at these world finals, and we want the best members. So it's not just going to be some homegrown crew. It's going to be like a put together crew. So I don't think it's ever going to have that, at least if we're talking world level, top level breaking, it's never going to have that homegrown feeling, which it used to have, It has to be the local jams that, you might see a bit more of that if it can keep that alive, No,
it has to be local. Like we have to do it over here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To even build it up in general. Cause it's like, I've been throwing this draft, right? I call it the breaking draft. And the concept is like, you take a top 32. So let's say 60 people enter. You take a top 32, and out of the top 32, 8 people are captains. And we rank the best captain from 1 to 8. So the number 1 pick, or the first.
This happened, This happened, right?
Yeah, I've done it 3 times.
Yes. Okay, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, so the first person, they pick their team, and they pick out of the 24 people, and it becomes a random 4-on-4.
That's dope, man.
And what I like about it is that so far, out of 2 to 3 I've done, the last picks, like the last person that gets picked, has made it to the finals twice.
Nice.
So that's how random and how much it ranges. Like the first one we did, Fleo picked. He didn't know anyone. He was like, "Dang, right?" So he just picked a random team, but he was so powerful. He like, "Don't worry, boys," and he carried them to the finals. So he carried them to the finals, and like but what was dope was that like a couple of new guys out here, they only seen Flayo on video. So the rep with him, they were like, whoa. Right?
Yeah, oh, that's crazy.
It's like super high level to like your local YMCA cat. So we were like, okay, this is dope. Like this, I was like, yo, this is so. In terms of like throwing like crew battles, like a 4-on-4 or whatever, I've been trying to do more things like that where the stakes are really low and nobody takes it too seriously, but it's super fun, you know?
Yep. I like that. The captains picking the people, it adds another element to it. Like it reminds me a little bit of like Fantastic Four, like Illmatic 2, like a kind of pick out of the hat, and it was a 4-on-4 event, you know. But that whole captain element is cool.
You make everyone line up. It's like school. Remember in school when it's like nice. On the wall? That's how and the last pick, it's like, oh
yeah, man. I know, right?
No.
But you know you're gonna want to come back to the jam next year to not be the last pick. That's gonna be like the motivation. Like I gotta put in work, you know. That's cool, man. Shit.
That's dope.
Because even the last one we did, like Lance and like Troy Whiplash rolled up, and they were just like, "Yo, sign me up." And I was like, "Are you guys serious?" Because like they're like in their 40s now, you know.
Nice.
And it's like they're battling with like 18-year-old kids. I was like, God, this is so fucking dope, you know?
No, it is cool. It is cool. It's like a force. Like, you know, if you battle with someone, you have this tied to them forever. You know?
Yo, bro.
It's weird. It's like I've met people for the first time that I was battling with in a crew battle. Like, yo, this is this guy from Winnipeg. Yeah. And we're like, okay, cool, man. And then you know what? We ended up doing well. We actually ended up winning under pressure with this guy, and it was like, damn, bro.
Yeah,
like every time, yeah, exactly, man. Yo, we have that like gold medal. Yeah, it was dope, man. It was. Yo, it's a bonding thing for sure.
I remember this one cat, like he repped with this dude Barrock, and he was like, yo, I've never even spoke to him before, man. It was cool just to talk to him, and I was like, okay, like this is. So obviously, I'm gonna try to get some grants together for that, because it's like, hey, if we could put some money into that, why not? You know?
Yeah,
you should do a Montreal edition. I think it'll do good.
Yo, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not even on some like, yo, that's the Switch B concept, and y'all gotta like. I'm just like, yo, if mans want to use it, just let me know so I can show you how to do it. That's it, you know.
Yeah. Yo, by the way, yeah, go ahead, Switch.
No, you go.
I was just gonna say on the last topic, but you can mention it as well. I was just thinking, like, is Battle of the Year the last big jam that has real crews? Like, it looks like it. Like, you think of it. Like you got Jinjo winning, you got, you know, it's like it looks like the
what about freestyle session? Maybe not, eh?
Oh no,
maybe
not. Yeah, I guess like close, but not like Battle of the Year, because it's like it has this notoriety where it's like you can only enter as a freaking real crew. Like,
yo, you're right, because I remember Battleborn beat Squadron a few years ago, and that was a really big deal because. You know, like it was like, yo, this is Battleborn, man. Like they're a real
Battleborn knows how to battle, pun intended. You know, like,
yeah, straight up.
But you know what it is? It's because you're not gonna like when you ask someone to battle, you know, a ringer crew, let's say, it's one thing to be like, yo, there's a jam Saturday, you want to link up and get this money, or hey, do you want to train for the next 6 months?
Yeah.
To put together this choreography,
oh my God.
and do formations and do all this stuff, and who's gonna put the mix together? Like, you're not gonna do that with these random strangers for 6 months. You're gonna be like, yo, like we already have routines, we already have choreography. Let's do it next year. Let's start training for it now. And that's kind of what it is, you know. That we're like, so Battle of the Year is a good example of the old school where you needed a crew to do well. Whereas nowadays, you don't need a crew to do well. Even commandos are somewhat frowned upon nowadays. Mm-hmm. Whereas back in the day, you know, in our generation, early 2000s, commandos was brand new. And it was like, yo, how tight is your crew? If they throw a commando, what do you guys have? And it was kind of like this new, fresh idea of kind of testing, okay, are you guys just like a super crew put together like on the spot? Or like, how much chemistry does your crew have together to go to the end? You know, it was like something fresh at the time, but then eventually, you know, obviously faded out. It was a fad, you know, but like crews needed each other back then, and they needed that chemistry. Whereas now it's kind of like, it's like I said, it's a 1v1 world, you know?
Yeah, no, the choreo is a good point. I didn't think of that. Like, yeah, you don't want to be stuck with a random dude for 6 months doing doing choreographies and hey, who's buying the pizza tonight so we can train. So
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, but, training on Zoom.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Where do you guys, like, when do you guys think like things shifted. Like I can only think of like so many good under pressures and good can I get a soul claps where like it was just like it was a crew thing, you know, and then
2014.
Straight up. Let's go. That's what I want.
Let's go.
No, October, November 2014.
Explain.
Let me tell you why. Thesis won $10,000 in a 1-on-1. After that, the game changed.
Ooh, nice.
The game changed after that. It was like what, 10K, and he got a Rolex.
Did he?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was a.
He got a Rolly.
It's the UDEF 1-on-1, right?
Yeah, silverback.
Damn.
That's when because 10K, $10,000 in one night. Yo, what the hell, yo, right?
Yeah. Why am I still hassling my crewmate to start to keep training when I could just go myself and get
Do a crew battle for $300 cash prize.
You know what I'm saying?
It changed because even after that, so and like one-on-ones were getting crazy, right? Because I remember Skills 4, there was like 130, 140 cats, and I remember being like 140 motherfuckers, like in Montreal.
Yeah, I
right?
know.
And then the next year, it was like 260.
Yeah,
I remember being like, yo, if I don't qualify, that's cool. You know, that's how I felt. There's so many people there. I was like, if I don't qualify, that's a lot.
That's the year you won.
That's the year. Yeah, I can't do that year. But my mentality, because I got called last. They called me last.
Oh shit!
So I was already like, all right, Phil Fury qualified, Zim qualified, Winston. All right, you know, if I don't qualify, it's cool. There's so many people. One-on-ones took off. People were just like, okay, like, why? You know, Jeff Reyes was doing the UD like UBL belts. All these one-on-ones, people were getting paid, man. There was like some crazy one-on-ones, right?
Interesting.
They did the Undisputed. The Battle of the Year had a one-on-one. Battle of the Year got a, you know?
Yeah. It just made sense. It made sense, and I think people just, you know, it took kind of like people were so loyal to their groups that it took like some crews changing that or breaking that loyalty to kind of for us to open up our eyes and kind of realize like, wait a minute, all right, maybe one-on-one is more efficient.
Bro,
you know?
I remember it's like, okay, you got the squadron. It's like that is not a crew. That is a super crew. I don't care how long y'all been a super crew. It's like this is a bunch of crews, and they kept adding better and better cats. And then all of a sudden, it's like, you know, you had like a crew like what were they called? What's his name? Jamal and Al Khalil used to be in it.
Predators?
Right? So those guys were dope. And then Al Khalil left and made his own crew, and they were nasty. And you're like, whoa, like there's all these really sick guys, and people just, and then Hong Ten started repping with like Jinjo, and you're like, yeah, wait a minute. And then there were 7 commandos, so you're like, yo, what's going on? Like, how on earth are any 3 mortals supposed to beat Wings, Skim, and Hong Ten? Like, how are we supposed to do that?
No.
Right.
And then it's all, you know what I'm saying? Like, how are we supposed to do that? And all of a sudden now Menno's repping with all these cats, and you're like, yo, bro, I remember end of 2015, it was Styx, Samo, and Hannibal, the most random team ever against Rocks.
That's a lot of style, man.
Nagin and Menno in the finals, and I was like, what? Team Red Bull now? How are you supposed to beat those guys?
Yeah, I know. You know, it's crazy. Like, it's a weird comparison, but I was watching this movie on this documentary on Netflix. And, you know, it's like all the boy bands back in the day were all put together by a manager that basically was handpicking these talented singers from across the city or across the country or across the globe, basically to find like people that really could, you know, hang with each other. And then I found out that like Boys to Men, like, man, these guys knew each other from high school. They like formed together. I was like, yo, that's rare as shit. Like, that's crazy. Like, you guys, even just to know each other before the name was made, they actually put themselves together. And that's kind of like how rare that would be like you said, like, you know, like a squadron, just kind of like, hey guys, we're all from the same neighborhood and we're just all happen to be top 10 in the world. Let's fucking form a crew, you know, like it's like, it's not gonna happen, you know?
Yeah, no, it's just like, and that's why Sweet Technique was special, because it was just like, okay,
right.
I remember these guys as children, so that they're growing up now, and you know what I mean. But it's like, even like when we're talking about Phil, like Phil's top of the world right now, and like his name's Phil Wizard. He was in a crew called the Wizards, and like they're nice, right? Like Sai is disgusting, Samson's nasty, and there's other people, right? But he's just like, yo, I'm in 7 Commandos, I'm in
Red Bull.
Yeah, like,
United
I'm out
Rivals.
here.
Yeah.
I mean, United Rivals. Like, I'm out of here, and it's just like, all right, man. And it's like, yo, it's not personal, bro. It's business, you know. So
And when you have
Very
these
true.
like when you have these you know, like you watch footage and you're like, oh, Red Bull BC1 All Stars, okay, Monster Squad, okay, oh, Squadron, okay, and it's kind of like you see all these super crews and you're kind of like the way I kind of think about it, if I was in one of the crews battling at that event, I'd be like, well, whatever, man, we lost against one of the super crews, like it is what it is, you know. But if you lose against a crew, especially if you're a super crew, like when you
that's bad for the brand.
you know, so that was just like,
actually, it's funny, I just remembered this when we went up to B-boy unit back in 07. The rule was you couldn't fuse more than 2 crews together. That was the rule. Yeah, they were like, if you can't put more than 2 crews together. So some people, like, they came together for a couple, like, I remember we battled Ilmask, so it was like that was fine. But if they added one extra person, so in the end, and when we went out there was a couple of like 2 crews, but most of the crews were like homegrown crews, and we got rinsed by Rivers, right? But like Mine 180 ended up winning, but Mine 180 had Mine 180, right?
That Nasty Ray and Casper,
and and we're like, so like, you know, like how many crews is that?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So it's just like, but it was like, adding Nasty Ray and Casper was definitely overkill. Like they should have just only had one, but at the end of the day, it was like, oh, this is a sick crew. Casper was like one of the hottest b-boys in the world. So people were like,
and that was like prime Nasty Ray too, you know.
Oh my god! So they were just we're gonna let it slide, and they slapped up everyone. So
of course,
I have a really e-boy question for you, Switch. But like, did you see the Born versus Casper battle?
Oh yeah, I'm there in the footage, bro. I was there.
Oh wait! Oh my
god, bro! What? You were there?
Yes, I was there.
Send me a screenshot.
Whoa! I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, me, like actually, I'll send you a screenshot. Me and Troubles. And like I saw a picture recently and Nonsense is in it. We were there, man. It was I remember like Fat Casper being like, yo, what's all this kicky shit you're doing? What's all this kicky shit? And Born's like, my style, my flavor. Yeah. And we were all like, oh, like we're just like cheering.
Oh my god.
Oh, man, that brings crazy, so much memories. Shit, that's crazy.
Like we were training with a guy from Toronto. He went to the same college as us, and he was telling us he was at the Ivan versus KML battle. I was like, what the fuck? He was sitting in the Cypher. I was like, yo, and he was so pro KML. At the time, we were so pro Ivan until later on we really got to know KML more. But like we were like Ivan was like the god, and this guy was like Ivan was shit. He was doing this and doing that, and we're like we like didn't, I don't know. We started like not liking that guy. That was crazy. Yeah, exactly. But so bad.
Like, you know what's funny though? Fun fact about that battle. So like, you know, Rivers battled Mine 180 before, and it was crazy. Like it was really tight. They're crashing a bit, but it was so raw and it was so crazy. Yeah. Like physics going crazy, and then they end up battling in the semis and all doing the same rounds, and it was so whack, bro. I was like, oh man, we already saw this battle. Like, but it's just a weaker version. Yeah, they were just running the same rounds. This shit, I was like, oh
yeah,
weak. Yeah.
So, they had like not only routines, but this is like my semi round. This is like my finals round.
It was insane.
I mean, yo, these guys, like I think Korea changed they changed the crew battle game, man. They changed the way that people had to prepare for shit like that. You know, like
yeah, definitely.
Like I'm well, Switch, you went to Korea, I'm sure. Well, B-boy unit is in Korea.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. So and Jubai from our crew went to Korea like 2009 or something like that, and like he trained with Jinjo, and like these guys trained from like late at night to like early in the morning, and they have a rotation of like 2 dudes staying for the last 2 hours to prep routines and stuff like that, and then they go to sleep, and then they eat shit, repeat, you know, like so. I think that these guys like in the late 2000s, like they literally changed how the world saw or looked at the meaning of being a performance crew or just like a battle squad in general, you know?
Right.
Like when we were out there, because I was 17, so I was like 5 years into breaking at the time. Yeah. And I remember just being like, when we came back, we were like, okay, guys, like we suck at breaking. Like, yes, we just established ourselves as one of the better crews in the country, but we suck. So we started training so hard, and like it was really easy to win battles for that, especially 07. We were like, yo, man, like Canada doesn't even know, because yo, you know, like how they're 1 year younger or whatever. They consider themselves one when they're pregnant. So like there was kids out there, and I was like, yo, you're nasty, bro. Yo, how old are you? And the man's be like, yo, I'm 14. And I was like, damn, this kid's 13. Like,
that's funny, man. Damn.
You know, and I saw Wing for the first time, bro, in the Cypher, man, and I was shook, bro. I was like, yo, man, this guy's the best people I've ever seen in my life. Like, fucking crazy. So like, yeah, no, they changed the game. Like, there was like, if you want to hang over here, you need like 10, 11 routines. And it's like, even Illmatic, you guys have the crazy routines. Oh, my bad. I got like, I'm near a street.
There's like a motorcycle in your living room.
But like Illmatic had crazy routines, you know, and so did like Bag of Tricks. But yeah, like fucking Korea was like, no, you have to have amazing routines every time. Can't even be like sort of slack.
Yeah, man. It's I remember like a crew came down. I don't know if it was Rivers or Gamblers, but like they came down to Just for Laughs festival, and the promoter was like, I've never seen anything like this. All they do is smoke cigarettes and break all day. It was like 16 hours a day. They're breaking and they're smoking, and you know, they're fucking just machines. It's like, that's like normal for them. Whereas
Extreme
we're like,
crew.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Like
Extreme crew.
Whereas us, it was like a 3-hour training practice, and that was like hardcore, you know. Whereas they're like 3 hours will be like their warm up and stretching and meditation, and then they start actually practicing, you know.
City, I don't even think Suji's saying like they're extreme. It's Extreme Crew from Korea. Like,
no, I know, I got that. Yeah, I got that. Yeah, it probably was them. I don't know. There was a few years. There was some.
That's a perfect name though. Like as a crew, if you if you smoke and then you go smoke,
you know what I'm saying? And
Yo,
that was,
City.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Eagle airflared off the stage?
Yes.
And somehow won.
Yo, I was like, yo, I think we just won, because imagine we went to the finals with them, and then we tied, and then that was the fucking tiebreaker round, and yo, we're all deciding, okay, who's gonna go in, who's going to go in. They're like, yo, you go in, and I'm like, yo, I'm so gassed. So Dingo's like, okay, I'll take it. We're like, sick, okay, good.
I remember we were like, yo.
Dingo goes in, he does a good round, and then this guy goes, boom, off the fucking 10-foot stage.
Like, it was a far fall. I can't believe he was okay.
Like, he could have been like hospitalized or worse. And like, he gets up, and we're all looking at each other going, okay, like what's going on now? Do we win? Or, you know, and then, you know, all of a sudden, okay, he wants to continue the round. And there was so much camaraderie. The judges, I remember Flowmaster being like, yo, the fact that this guy just continued his round.
Oh, we're like,
no. So,
everything's going wrong.
Yeah, I mean, the guy killed it, man. They deserve to win, but it was just
they didn't.
This is just City being nice, bro.
No, I know, but it's like literally like okay, I know it's not sports, but dog, you went out of bounds. It was a big stage. That's a fucking violation. It was not a small stage.
You're right. It
like you're playing basketball and you fall into the crowd and you destroy that guy's popcorn that he was eating in the stands.
Bro, like imagine you're in a boxing match and you throw a fucking hook and somebody ducks and you fucking fly into the audience, bro. Like your fight's done, bro.
Oh shit! I think this was even worse than that, man. But like, you know what? True, man. That was a big stage. That was.
Yo, okay. Just to put it in perspective, like, this man, he fell off the stage and it was like 8 seconds. He had to run up the stairs and come back on. At least 8 Mississippis. I swear to God.
Oh yeah.
The stage was empty.
Absolutely.
It's a violation, but Sidney's a nice guy. He's a nice guy.
I thought you said he was 8 seconds in the air.
Oh my God, man. Yeah, we thought we got away. We thought we got away there. We're like, shit, I think we just won the battle. Even though it was like his round was going like to outer space, you know, with his power. But then all of a sudden we're like, I think we won, and then nope.
Probably
pity
not.
card.
Yeah, if you guys were us, because if somebody airflared off the stage, I would have just been like, yo, we won. We won, bro. I would have just rushed the stage, like, celebrate. I would have started celebrating. Like, yo, we won, bro. I wouldn't even let him do his round. Nah, bro, you're done. Like,
fucking pouring champagne on his grave.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my God.
But what was that guy's name? Yeah, Eagle. He's sick, though. He really is nasty.
Do you guys think that it's the same? Like, I don't know if you guys will get the reference, but like there was like an early breakdance fail clip that was kind of like going around, and there's this guy falling off the stage. Do you think it's that exact airflare?
No, I've seen that, and it was, I don't know. It's like this was before shit went viral. Otherwise, this would have taken off big time.
Honestly, I just don't know how he got up, and would finish his round, because it's just like. anyone else, it would have been like, oh shit, like.
I know. I don't know how he fell. When he fell off the stage, all I heard was like, ah. So I don't know. Maybe he landed on his feet. I don't know. I was thinking the worst because the guy goes off. Imagine going off the stage in a handstand, and then it's like I don't know. And then no one saw him. Like he just disappeared.
Guy, I can't.
B-boy Bumbleclad, bro.
Yeah, B-boy Bumbleclad, bro. Yeah, no, that was a.
I'm gonna make such a clickbait title for this episode, like using
like, can you win a jam if you fall off the stage? That's what I should call it.
For me, it's like no, like because if I was a judge and someone was like, "Yo, Switch, why did you vote against me?" I'd be like, "Cause you fell off the stage." That's it.
Yeah, that would be an easy explanation, but they didn't know.
What's the worst move to fall off a stage? Is it an airflare?
Airflare.
Because I feel like a baby mill or some shit like that, you know, because you're kind of like all crutched.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like physically?
Yeah.
Physically. Oh.
No, airflare for sure. You're like 10 feet higher than you are. Like if you're on the ground.
Yeah, it's true.
In a handstand, that's like another 5 or 6 feet going down. That's
yeah. Head slap. That's the worst one.
Oh my god.
All right, we'll try and start to wrap this conversation. Although I feel like we could talk for hours, but there was one last thing we wanted to chat with you guys because again, like Chris, well, you're Break City, you know, so you literally are a powerhouse for like grooming like break kids in Montreal, and you're
break soldiers,
you know. And I know Switch, like you have a long time history, you know, like doing work with kids and working with Unity and stuff. And I mean, there was a moment in Toronto where like there were like university clubs and jams with like hundreds of people signing up and shit like that. And I listen to It's Just Breaking podcasts like religiously, and they always kind of like make mentions about how the new generation in Toronto is kind of like slacking or not there at all. So can you explain like what's going on in Ontario? Because I feel like in Quebec we have an up and coming generation, like for sure. Like Chris has a good chunk of kids like coming up. Sonic has a good chunk of kids. I mean, Powers from Foreign Minds. I do have a good chunk as well.
Studio Party Time
in Quebec City. Derek Power, like B-Boy Powers from Foreign Minds. He has his own fucking school with like 100 kids. Yeah. You know, just breaking.
Shout out to Powers.
Yeah. So what's the status like in Ontario right now, as far as you know?
Man, there was just a disconnect. There was something like around, and I'm not like blaming anyone or anything, but like around like cats like Burn and Ills, Sticks, like that generation, right? When they got good. Oh my god, I'm right by the street.
It's all good.
Yeah, but like there's just, I don't know what happened, man. Like people kind of stopped. Like the younger kids. Like there's always people breaking, but we didn't have anybody like, you know, like even Quake, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
We didn't have any young like 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds that were like, yo, I'm really into this. Mm-hmm. Like we were those guys, like, you know, the cats in GI right now and like the fam. We were those guys. So I don't know what happened, and I've been seeing it in Montreal. It's sick. Like it's dope, man. The scene's very healthy. Like you guys got a lot of shit going on, a lot of nice seeds planted. But in Toronto, it's just like we just get imports now, and that's what keeps it competitive, you know. But They're not young. Like I mean, well, there's some of them are young, but it's like even some of the kids that I'm trying to show shit right now, they're not even kids, like 20, you know.
Right.
Like where the 15-year-olds at? Where the like 16-year-olds at? So I don't know. I'm like we got dudes like Quan. Quan's been training a couple cats. It's Just Breaking Boys been training a couple cats. So I'm sure they'll blossom here or there, but I don't know what happened, man. Like
it's looking grim
right now.
Pandemic thing maybe like definitely slowed things down.
No, the pandemic didn't help, but like I've been noticing this since 2017, because when I went out to Vancouver, I judged this youth event out there that NON was throwing. Shout out to NON. And it was like, I don't know what the fuck was going on. There was like hundreds of kids, and like a bunch of kids doing air flares and backflips and hollow backs. And I was like, yo, why? How come there's like all these B girls and all these kids in Montreal and Vancouver, but there's none in Toronto? You know,
That's interesting.
Yeah, there's just I don't know. Cause I was like,
you guys are too mean.
Probably, man, probably. But I just find that people don't really like. They don't really stick with it. Like, we had some cats that they got good. They even got good, and then they're just like, I'm off this, you know. So we were those last kids. Like I was coming out to jams when I was 13, you know. So I don't know what happened.
Damn.
I'm trying to figure it out. You know, obviously, like Simply Swag, like Kazi's got his kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's a few cats that, but it's just in terms of like even the events, like I don't really see them in the ciphers too often. So we're trying to figure something out.
Well, I mean, it's the perfect time to grow back like a scene or like I guess a good crowd of like young competitors, because I mean the future is theirs, you know, not mine or or a lot of old guys like me. But I was just curious, you know, because there's like there was a moment where like I remember this one jam in Waterloo where like we used to roll, and like I think we did like 2 or 3 of them like in a row. With like the last one we did was like with Tijo was judging, and he was battling J Bugs. Yeah, rest in peace, Tijo, man. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's before he started. He quit breaking unofficially, but I mean, in that event, there was like, man, it was a 3-on-3, and there was like so many people, and it was in a university. It was packed. It was a crowd. Like it was fun. You know, there was a good vibe. And I haven't been to Toronto in a minute, but I keep hearing it on the It's Just Breaking podcast, like how like the new generation is nowhere to be found. So I'm hoping for you guys that there's a generation coming up, you know, because like Toronto has such a strong like history and legacy and a rich heritage. So
like like I was at one of I was at Andel's or B-Bad's like 40th birthday. Shout out to B-Bad, and we're like, I see like this girl breaking. And I'm like, yo, who the hell is this? She's young. And it's like Flex's daughter. So she's not even new. She's just young, you know? Like, I was like, damn, like, you know, she's been around since like last 10, 15 years. You know what I mean? She's just get like older now. But yeah, no, we're trying to figure it out. Like, we're definitely on it. Like, the Calantes bros are really like, they want to, you know, and as I said, like, it's just breaking. There's a few cats. So I think now that there's more events and all that, we will start to build it back. But yeah, man, and you know, like at one time too, there was Unity, right? Like Unity really like So, but Unity's not so breaking focused now; it's more hip hop. So we'll see what happens.
So, well, yo, guys, I really feel like we can just keep this going, but we also changed the format to make it a bit shorter. But really appreciate you guys' time, man. Like it was a blast. I think it was fun to have one cat from Montreal, one cat from Toronto talk it out. Unfortunately,
nice
not much beef going on. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no.
But yo, before we let you guys go, since City is already familiar with this, we're going to be doing this with you, Switch. A little rapid fire questions for you.
Let's go.
You cannot justify.
Unless... Yeah, you just have to say, give the answer, and that's it. Because sometimes guests feel like the hip hop gods will kill them, you know, for the decisions they made, but it doesn't matter. The first one's kind of easy. First footage, or not first, but footage that changed your vision in your breaking, like blew your mind essentially.
I mean, any Battle of the Year clips I saw.
Dope. All right, now it gets a bit more choicey. Favorite MC or hip hop group?
Favorite MC, I'd say is either Elzai, and favorite hip hop group is probably Slum Village or Tribe.
Nice.
Current artist that you like listening to?
Switch B.
Snow Allegra. Snow Allegra's dope.
A matchup you would, I feel like you'd be perfect for this question. A matchup you would like to see, or someone you'd like to battle?
Oh, I'd like to see Mad Track versus Kurt, and like to
from Straight Bat.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
And I'd like to battle Mad Track. I don't think I've ever got to battle Mad Track.
Dope. We'll make it happen. Current underdog of the scene.
But yo, my homie Jason or Mark Calantes, man.
Yeah.
All the Calantes brothers actually, straight up. Like those guys, any given day, any of those guys can snap.
Yeah, that's true. I like how they kind of like take turns, like.
Yeah, man. They're a fucking force, man.
It's crazy.
Crazy.
Favorite jam ever of all time?
Ooh, favorite jam ever. Wow. B-Boy City back in 2016.
Is that Chicago?
Yeah, no, it's in Texas, Austin.
Oh, you went,
but it used to be in Chicago, right? Because Chris, I think you went.
Oh, no, that's City versus City.
City versus City. Okay.
What'd you say again? B-Boy City. Oh yeah, that's been long standing since like 2010.
From Rome. That's Romeo's event. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Damn.
Okay.
And favorite jam in Montreal?
Favorite jam in Montreal? Well, okay, obviously, like Skills Meter was dope because I won, but like the South Flavor Jam, the one
go!
The one that Eastern Bloc came out to, yeah. Like, it's like 2014.
Nice.
That shit was lit, yeah.
Nice.
Word. Local. I mean, I feel like you're gonna list a bunch of them, but local inspiration.
Local inspiration for sure would be like by MEC, my boy Andel, Nastic, Clinton.
Let's go.
Yo, Nastic, by the way, like Sugy and I always gush over his form. It's like it's not like a direct comparison, but still somewhat close if you compare it to Montreal. He kind of like soul step Nastic, like soul step form.
Yeah. Like it's just like I see what did they ever battle? That would have been dope.
They probably had maybe, but I'm not sure. But the form, that's where we kind of see the connection.
No mistakes.
Yeah, those guys they don't have stuff ever.
Yeah.
I agree.
International inspiration?
International inspiration is definitely like abstract, Kevo, physics,
Kevo, the most underrated b-boy of all time.
Yeah, for real.
Crazy.
This one's always fun. Power move you wish you would have had.
I wish I learned how to coast my head spin. Like
not a drill. Yeah.
Or just like I wish my windmills were better,
Yeah, windmills can be like tricky.
Oh man, it's like rip your groin every time. But yeah, either coasting head spin or like nice windmills.
Yeah. Okay. This is really, you don't have to go specifics into this. West Coast or East Coast? Not even breaking
East Coast
really.
All day. Oh yeah, East Coast all day, man.
Yeah.
East Coast all day.
Tupac or Biggie?
Biggie.
Oh, hell.
That's where they usually they're like, oh no, the hip hop god's gonna kill me. I can't give it.
Easy.
Ken Swift or Maurizio?
Oh, Kenny.
Oh, you switched it up. Kenny all day. Back in the day, it was Crazy Legs versus Ken Swift.
This question has been canceled.
Yeah. Straight up.
We canceled this question.
He's like, back in my day, in episode 2.
But if to be honest, if that's the question, then the Crazy Legs, like I really resonated with his style.
Yeah.
His footwork is fucking butter.
Like, yeah.
All right, next question.
Sure. Yeah, go on.
Premier or RZA?
Oh, Premier.
Shit, man, you really know you don't like, they don't have stepping. And last question for you, what's the Montreal style?
Yo, what somebody said it the other day, like they call it real city for a reason. Like I just feel like Montreal, like beyond breaking, like people just because let me say this, like Toronto, like I love Toronto, right? But there's a lot of really fake motherfuckers out here, man. Like straight up, people like just fronting all the time. And I just feel like when you go to Montreal, people are just like, this is who I am, and I don't care what you think about me. Like it's just like
I'm very Italian.
I just like I from the break, especially now that you guys like got your swagger and you're like, yo, we'll fuck up anyone in the world. It's just super real. Like they don't like no one's lying. There's a lot of honesty. It's very honest. That's what I said. That's what I've been looking for in breaking. Like just when I see people break, doesn't matter what level. Like a Montreal, I'm like, yo, I believe you, man. I believe this guy. Straight up.
Nice.
Some
honesty.
cats, some cats you see, and I'm like, you're dope. You train hard, but I don't believe you. You're lying.
Yeah,
that's a good way of putting it, man. I like that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Guys, before we let you go, any shout outs, any people you wanna pay homage to or whatever?
You first, City. You first.
I'll say shout out to people putting in good work right now. Breaking Canada, a lot of work behind the scenes that have put all these events together, non-paid. Breaking Quebec, Zig's doing a really good initiative right now with Breaking Quebec, Tales of the Cypher, and just everyone that's pushing, throwing jams. You know, it's not easy after the pandemic, especially just with all these canceled dates and stuff like that. So people that are just, you know, pushing jams and reviving the community, like shout out to everyone right now doing that.
Yep. I feel the same way, you know, like shout out to y'all for like keeping the pod movement going, like just like especially episode 78, like y'all should be really proud of yourself for that.
Thank you, man.
That's dope.
Wow.
And yeah, like City said, anyone that's out there teaching, throwing events, hosting space for like people to get down.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? Catch a vibe of any sort, like just or even developing skills to contribute to the scene in any way. Like shout out to everyone. But yeah, you know, shout out to Canada. We're still here.
Hey,
still here, man,
hey,
you know?
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Straight up.
Well, boys, thank you so much for taking the time again. Like, I feel like this is really great. This is fun.
Wait, does this mean I gotta wait another 80 podcasts to get it back?
76 to be exact.
Yeah, shit.
Damn.
Yo, thanks for having me back, man.
Oh, look, Chris, would you like to come back? Like, you feel like have you listened to your episode back again? Like,
I think at least once I listened to it back.
Okay, well, if you
a while later, so
yeah, we got to get the that was dark, Chris. We got to get
that. Yeah, exactly. It really was, man.
And Switch, you were much overdue, but we'll bring you back for sure, my man.
Hey, yeah, man, for sure. Well, hopefully, like, I'm gonna come see y'all in August in person. I want to come out to Montreal just to chill again. So
let's go.
Let's go. Man. Hey, well, there's the Breaking Canada finals. Yeah, it's in Jackalope, eh?
Yeah. It's the Canadian finals at this Olympic Stadium organized by Jackalope and Breaking Canada.
When's that? When is that?
August 20th.
August 19th. Okay. August 19th, right, 20th. Like, yeah.
The whole weekend. I think the whole weekend there's gonna be stuff happening. It's just like end of August is just such a good time to be in Montreal. Like there's like the weather's nice. There's so many things. So
yeah, and I just want to like come out. Like last time I came up for a weekend, that was cool for best birthday. But like I definitely want to just come chill because like my whole life is always I've never chilled in Montreal. It's only once. I always go there and it's like you either got to work, do an event. So I want to just come out and chill, you know, see the boys, have a beer. Because last couple times, even when I saw you at Skills and Media, it was like super brief, right?
So, yeah,
man. So you know, gotta catch up with the boys, have a little, you know, and just
well, Chris,
little Sprite.
Oh well, whatever you want to drink, it's all good. Well, thank you, boys, man. This was dope, and we hope to do this in real life, man. One day, like I'm over with Zoom, you know, like
we will do it in real life.
Yeah,
for sure, man, for sure.
All right,
love you guys. Peace.
Out.
Yeah.
Peace out, y'all.
Yes.
Peace.